Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things Mecha. Jumpship incoming.
Welcome everybody to another exciting and thrilling episode of Mobile Armor Radio. What episode are we on?
28.
28. Wow.
Season 3, episode 4.
Season 3, episode 4. You can get the box set now available. And so welcome to another great episode here. And I think with that we're going to go right into the jump ship and talk over what we're working on.
Brian, you didn't even introduce us.
No, I didn't.
I was waiting.
I'm Rob.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Chopper.
Now we can go to
I've been staying up too late.
Yeah. Now we can get out of here. Jeez.
Dropship landing.
So after that rough introduction, welcome to the jump ship where we talk about what we're...
No, Dropship.
Dropship.
Brian, it has been a long time for you, hasn't it?
Oh my god.
It has. I think we went out of order near the beginning of COVID.
I don't know.
I don't know if I've started an episode in quite some time.
You did.
Yeah, we looked it up. You did. The last one was...
The problem is we had some interviews in between then that you weren't able to make.
Yeah, and you missed... Oh, you might... Maybe it was the one you missed. You did miss one. Maybe that screwed up everything.
That might have been it.
Oh yeah, you did miss one for your wedding.
Yeah, so maybe that was the one you were supposed to do, and then we just skipped you.
Probably.
That could be it. That could be the reason. Yep.
So, to start the dropship section again...
Oh, this is all staying in. This is all staying in.
Alright, we'll circle back. So, dropship. What have we all been working on? Let's start with Pat.
Oh gosh.
I think the answer would have been the same.
Yeah, honestly, not too much. Mainly because, like I said, I'm still trying to acclimate to my new lifestyle of being up in the daytime and not sleeping in the daytime. So I'm still trying to get into a groove where, as you know, when we hobby kind of in the later evenings.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I have to get up early in the morning, I don't stay up that late anymore. So I don't hobby that much. So I need to get into the rhythm of hobbying earlier in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But I did start reorganizing my game room. And I just realized how many models of mechs and Robotech and everything I got.
You got more here?
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous. I need to start trying to put a dent in that. And I need to find a way to not be so anal with my painting.
Yeah, you gotta batch paint some?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just hard. I know. It's never simple for me.
I kind of know what you mean. It's like there are definitely like some projects where it's like I don't want to start this because like I don't feel my technique is there yet, or I don't have the time to commit to it.
That's pretty much it. So, but I am going to resolve myself to start up again now that I'm actually cleaning and reorganizing. Plus, winter's coming, and then we always do more in the winter than we do in the summer, anyways.
True.
I found we always say that, and then actually don't do that, though.
I will also put the blame on Civ 6.
I blame you.
What?
Well, you're the one who made us play Civ 6. So.
I didn't make you play Civ 6. I just asked if you'd like to play Civ 6.
Actually, I think you bought it for me and made me play it, actually. I think that's how it went.
I may have bought it for you, but I don't think I made you play it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I got for this. But I got other stuff. I've been doing other mech stuff that's not model related or hobby related. So
okay. How about you, Rob?
I have not been doing much. I really haven't done any hobby. I've been 3D printing a bunch of mechs, but that's about it. I haven't even painted anything. I can't remember the last thing I painted. It's been a long time. I just, I don't know. I'm just not in the mood. I think it is summer. Summer, when it's hot, you don't want to do much. I did reorganize all my mechs and put them on a shelf, the ones that I actually have painted, and it's crazy. I need more shelving. Because between the ones I 3D printed and then this is all Battletech stuff, and then the Kickstarter coming soon. I think it's already shipping to some people, so it's going to be crazy amounts of mechs. So
you must just get a smaller bed for shelf space.
Yeah, or bunk beds. That's the way to go.
Oh yeah, put your bed up on some stilts and then put shelves underneath it.
Yeah, I think that's what my next plan is.
the old college dorm room setup.
Yep, exactly how it was in my university. Yeah, so not much for me either. How about you, Brian? You've done anything?
This might be a shock to no one that I haven't done much. the most I did, after the Escaflowne kit was some of my. And I might have even mentioned this last time, is like I had a couple of Striders for Dead Zone that I've kept in a carrying case that traveled with me anytime I was looking to play that game, and made for some fragile joints, and so two of them were in the repair shop. Well, I got that part done. That's about it.
Have you picked up a...
Did you ever build that Asterion kit?
I was just going to ask the exact same thing. Have you built the Spectre yet?
I did not have a chance to order one yet, but our buddy Rick, I got to see his the other day, and it is a sweet kit.
Quite large.
Mm-hmm. It's a tall one.
I planned to pick mine up at Gen Con. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful little kit.
Mm-hmm. I've been working up to kind of planning out the next, force in Dead Zone, and so I'm between Forge Fathers and Enforcers, but I don't know how I'm feeling on mechs for them yet, just because I've got a bunch. Got ideas for Dead Zone Striders, though.
Some more themed ones.
I wonder if the size of the Spectre is the same size as the Monster Apocalypse guys.
That'd be a good question.
I'm not sure.
Pretty close.
Because you can use that Spectre for that one, Ultraman faction. And
yeah, it kind of looks like it. I think he's bigger, but I'm not sure. I've never had one in hand, but just the idea of it looks bigger.
Neither would I. I think he is bigger.
Trying to think, I don't have any Monster Apocalypse. I don't know where my guys are. They're somewhere. Because I know it's like
they're still in your bag from when you flew them back.
Probably they're somewhere. But I have a Stage 1A from Dead Zone, and I know the Spectre is quite a bit taller than him, and I'm thinking he's about the same, maybe a little bit smaller than the Monster Apocalypse, but not by much. So
now, when you say taller, is that
way taller,
including the base, or is that him just standing?
Yeah, that base gives him a good chunk of height too.
I'm not sure. Is he 1 foot down? I don't even know what it looks like anymore. I know the base because he's standing on the wing of a downed. What is it? The Enforcer plane. Yeah, I know. I think it's the other one, the Enforcer one.
Oh,
the Arbiter.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Yeah.
The Arbiter.
But he's quite big.
Mm.
But
yeah, for me, a lot of the hobby is probably mostly going to be in the Dead Zone area. A lot of my model kits for like Gundams and stuff are still packed away, and probably won't make it out in the foreseeable future. The Escaflowne kit kind of arrived after that fact, so it's like, okay, this one gets to get put together.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's what I've been working on, which isn't much now that I'm teaching again. So had to clear up my my hobby desk, if you will.
Yeah. Real life gets in the way sometimes. It sucks.
Mm-hmm. But, it gives us the opportunity to work on these kind of things, so that helps.
At least we can think about doing stuff.
Right. But with that, I think we'll move right on into ComStar then and start talking about other things that are going on in Mecha.
Message from ComStar.
All right, welcome to ComStar. So this is the section of the show where we talk about all sorts of other things that are not necessarily putting model kits together, but other Mecha things that we are currently into. So I'm going to start with Rob this time.
Yeah, I've done a few things, I guess. Mostly watching and reading, but obviously if you listen to our last special podcast with Brian Young, I did read Honor's Gauntlet. It's the furthest I've read in the Battletech universe. Well, it's pretty far up. It's post-Dark Age, beginning of the post-Dark Age. Right now, in my regular reading, because I'm reading all through them in chronological order, in universe chronological order, I'm only in 3058, I think, just when the inner sphere is about to strike back. So that's jumping 100 years in the future. Really was a shock to the system, but not much has changed, really. That's the beautiful thing about Battletech. The more things change, the more they stay the same. It's pretty much everybody's at war. I also watched all of Appleseeds. I went back and watched every single Appleseed episode and movie. And I'd seen a lot of them before, but I refreshed myself, and that's fun. I do like Appleseed. They're Mecha. They're just on the edge of powered armor. They're a little bit bigger. But
the landmates are a really cool design.
Yeah, the little arms in the front.
Yeah.
But really fun. Those movies are great. And there's barely any, like, between all the different movies and the different shows, there's barely any continuity. It's like kind of similar, like you have the similar background, but it doesn't fit together very well. It's kind of funny that they did that. Same guy who did Ghost in the Shell actually made Appleseed, so it all makes sense that he kind of Ghost in the Shell is very similar to that too, where if you think about it too hard, it doesn't really make sense.
And that they have the like split universes between the different animated things. Yeah, different properties or whatever. I still think that Appleseed is a prequel to, or no, a sequel? I can't remember which way it was, which one was earlier, to Ghost in the Shell. Same universe, just different parts of the timeline. I think
and different parts of the world.
Because Ghost in the Shell is like, what, in the 2040s? I think?
Yeah, so it'd be earlier, yeah. So Appleseed would be after that, I would think.
I think so.
Post-war.
Who knows?
But very similar aesthetic. If nobody's seen Appleseed, which probably most people have, it's really good. The computer-generated movie is probably the weakest one, but the movie before that was really good. And I finally got High Dive, the streaming service for anime, and I've been watching Armored Trooper Votoms, which is on there.
Nice.
Oh, really? How is it?
I'm only about 5 episodes in, I guess. It's like early, like, I can't remember, Votoms was like 83 or something like that, but it's really cool. It's got a really in-depth story. The animation is early, like if you're used to current animation, but if you're used to things like Macross or Battletech, not Battletech, Robotech, that kind of style, it's much more of that feeling. But it's fun. The scope dogs are cool. And they're not much bigger than... They're about the same size as the Appleseed ones, too. They're not much bigger than a powered armor. Yeah. Guy sitting inside. It's about Strider size from Dead Zone. About the same. Mm-hmm. But really fun. It's an interesting story so far. And it's not what I thought it was. That's for sure, so far. Like I said, I'm really early on in the original series, so there's tons of OAVs and things afterwards, so... I guess gotcha. It goes farther. I don't even know when the newest one was. It was like 2007 or something like that, even later maybe. So they've gone on for many years. It's one of those series that just quietly in the background where like Macross and Gundam have been loud and out in your face. Votoms have just been sitting there in the background just making episodes. So I'm excited to be on that trip because I think every episode's on High Dive. So High Dive is janky but it works. Like, at least it's a way to watch them. The actual interface is terrible. Like, It's no Netflix, that's all I'm saying. But it works. As long as you can stream them, that's all that matters. And that's it for me. That's all I've been doing, pretty much. I haven't done anything else.
Yeah. That's okay. How about you, Ken?
Me? Let's see. So I finished, which I started a long time ago, but I finally finished up Mobile Suit and Zeta Gundam again.
Oh, nice.
I've been watching that in the background slowly as I do things, especially when I'm working downstairs in the basement. So on to the next one. I forget what comes after that in chronological order.
Technically Double Zeta.
Double Zeta, I was going to say. Yeah.
Judo the Junkyard Gang.
Yeah, that's not the good one. Since we had a little talk with Brian Young, I started reading his book. I'm only in the chapter 1. But so far, enjoying it. Again, like Rob, it's been a long time since I read a Battletech book. So I had to kind of refresh myself a little bit.
Well, especially
after the clans and all that stuff in the Dark Age. I didn't mess around anything in Dark Age at all.
You pretty much just have to know that the clans are still around, but they're changed slightly, and they're still trying to get to Earth.
But one of the more bigger projects I've been working on is reading the Robotech role-playing book.
Oh, okay. The new one?
The new one that we talked with Brian Young about and stuff from, was it Strange Games?
What is that? I always forget the name of that. Strange Games. Yeah. I can't remember.
But I'm actually digging it. I like the format and everything. Again, so right now I'm just kind of getting down, checking out all the fine-tuned stuff, the more basic core games, the rules, and the skills tests and all that. And
Strange Machine Games. So
once I finish that up, maybe we can all try and play a game of Robotech.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
What else have I done? Oh, I also was, while I was cleaning out or messing around in my basement, I found a little box called Battletech Battle Force, which I started reading the rule book for that also.
Yeah, the small forces.
Yeah. The kind of more, what do you want to call it? Lance-oriented instead of mech-oriented.
Yeah, large scale battles, yeah. Smaller scale, too. The actual miniatures for Battle Force are small.
Yes. I think in the box it's just chits, though.
Yeah. But you can actually buy the miniatures. You always see them because you have to be careful when you're buying Battletech miniatures because they're like, wow, that's a really good price. And they're actually, because they're only like really small. I don't even know what scale they're, 1/500 or something. So like half the size of a normal mech.
So I've been reading that in case I may be able to meet with someone to play a game of Battle Force. I'd like to try that again. I haven't played that game since the 80s. So, did I watch any TV? I don't think I watched any TV other than Zeta.
You finished Transformers?
I did.
I don't think you did. You finish it last time? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I know I'm still the odd one out that I haven't watched it yet.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't binge watch it all the way through. I just binge watched it like 2 at a time over a period of a couple days. So.
Gotcha.
But it was good. I enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Especially if you're a big Transformers fan.
Yeah.
G1 for sure.
Yeah. I have. That's it. I don't think like I said, I don't think I watched anything, but I did a lot of reading and checking out some new different mech games to play around with. So
nice.
Yeah, cool. That's all I got.
Well, I admittedly haven't done terribly much, but like I hinted at in the last episode, I kind of had the hankering to play Metal Gear Solid 5 again. And so that's what the big emphasis on my free time has been devoted into. I restarted that game from the very beginning, and
oh no,
yeah, and it's been really fun to go back and play. The mechs in it takes place in this kind of hyper technological 80s, but still very much the 80s. Because like the music is all from the era.
That's funny.
A lot of Bowie and the Final Countdown and all that kind of fun stuff. And but it's all about like mercenary groups in in Afghanistan and Africa, and obviously it's about Metal Gears, and so there's these like little walkers that people have, and I don't mean like the kind that elderly folks use. Like
I would assume not.
These kind of like ride back things for anyone that's seen that show.
Or the obsolete ones.
Ride back is a good show, and more people should watch it. It's about like mech scooters that like our main character like dances with, like uses the mech to dance. And
why wouldn't you?
Because they make excellent dance partners.
It's in a weird way kind of reminiscent of IGPX, but less about pro racing and more about, I don't remember what happens in Ride Back.
Dancing mechs.
Dancing mechs.
I do have a question about Metal Gear, though.
Yeah.
I haven't played any Metal Gear since the first one. Could you catch me up on the story?
It was the distant future, 2005. There's a whole song about that, actually, by the Starbomb guys. For anyone that remembers Metal Gear Awesome, in the early days of Flash, that guy Ego Raptor went on to make a song about the it's like a talk show about games with simple plots, and then like Cloud Strife shows up to talk about Final Fantasy VII, and in the sequel, Snake shows up to talk about Metal Gear Solid, and but no, it's a really fun time. There is like, now that I had watched a video that it kind of really talked about the themes and how a lot of stuff was kind of worked in to the design of things. There's a whole component of like how like mirrors and reflections are emphasized and used a lot, and to kind of convey the story that's unfolding, which I won't spoil here, but I will say not only are these like little mechs that people kind of ride in, that you can deck out with machine guns and flamethrowers and rockets and stuff, but then you've got like these giant, like one of the big Metal Gears of it is this one called like Sahelanthropus, which is a big word that just talks about how the mech can actually stand on two legs and that it stands upright. And again, it's the 80s. It's great. But no, it's a great game. It's a very different entry in the Metal Gear series, in that it's like really brutally like violent at times, and then it'll be very like high school, where you've got all these guys that you bring to your base, and they'll talk about, oh man, we just rescued this dog. I want to touch its little beak. And so the Metal Gear franchise is always, I think a big part of it is that it creates this world that's very larger than life, and it's very right at home in that universe. So definitely check it out if you're a fan of the franchise and haven't, for whatever reason, looked into it yet. I think the game is 5 or 6 years old. I think it was like 2014. It's been a while. But it's still really good. Like, it still looks really good. It still plays really well.
What are you playing it on?
The PlayStation 4.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's... The saddest part is that Kiefer Sutherland took over the role of the main character as a voice actor. rather than David Hayter, who's played the character since the PlayStation 1 era.
Is it Lost Boys Kiefer Sutherland?
Yes, it is.
Makes sense. They're going for the 80s feel. Might as well get Kiefer.
I think they were going more Jack Bauer, honestly.
Yeah, that's probably right at the time. It was pretty big at the time, I bet, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it's been really fun to revisit. It's one of those games where if you do want to start over from the beginning, you have to delete your previous save file.
Yeah.
Which was... I had that moment where... Because I definitely played the heck out of the game early on, and had gotten a lot of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, I gotta erase all that. That's fun. Remind me one day to talk about another show or a video game series that's Mecha related, called Nier Automata. It's a fun time.
Nice.
But yeah, that kind of sums up the focus for me. I haven't really had time to watch a show or even many movies, though I've got a handful that are queued up and need to get consumed, if you will.
Cool.
So, yeah. So I think with that, we will move on to the MechBay Hanger and the main topic for the month.
And hopefully we have more to talk about.
Now entering the MechBay Hanger.
Alright, so welcome to the MechBay Hanger. And our main topic for the month was, rather than focusing on our big stompy robots, it's always kind of neat to see the crafts and vehicles and other kinds of support vehicles that are there to assist these giant stomping behemoths. And so wanted to kind of open up to some of our favorite support craft, and whether that be, it could be something as combative as a tank or something that just loads ammo. Like it's, really runs the gambit. And so, I think for this one, if I may, just to kind of start things off.
Sure.
The one that I had in mind when I came up with this topic has to be the hover tank from Mobile Suit Gundam. Man, I got Metal Gear on the brain, I guess. The hover tank, which we get to see in a lot of great detail and action in the 08th MS Team
yes.
anime series. It's a small little craft when compared to the Gundams that it runs with. It's got a little Gatling gun to do some fire support, but like the big thing with it is this like sonar based radar system, which is really fascinating, especially when within that universe. A big part of things was the Minovsky particles and how it disrupts radar and long range target locking and things like that. So what they implement is basically these spikes are driven into the ground, and based on the vibrations in the earth, these techs, in 08th Team's case, it was a wannabe singer and songwriter, musician there, listens in and can tell where the enemies are based on the vibrations in the ground, and it's really demonstrated to great effect in probably the best episode in that franchise, which is the Shuddering Mountain Part 1, where the team face off against the Ace pilot and the Goof Custom, and our main hero, if you will, of the series even goes, "We can't trust our eyes out here. We need you to listen and tell us where this guy is." And to do support fire and counter fire from there. So it really kind of emphasized the value of that support craft, even though it couldn't directly necessarily have a combat, it didn't have a lot of big guns on it, but definitely carried its weight. So,
yeah, for sure.
And so I think I'm going to throw it over to Pat then for the next one.
So I'm going to follow you in suit. And one of the things I liked was the VHT-1 Battletech hover tank.
Those are all tanks.
From Robotech Masters, or the Macross saga. I liked it because it wasn't a huge, giant plane or whatever. And was kind of like the main thing they used during the War on Earth before the SDF-3 took off. If you followed the Macross saga a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The only downside I don't like about it is that the pilot is exposed in both modes.
Yeah.
So that's what I call the chink in the armor. But it's a cool looking little ship. I like the way it moves. I like the way it runs around. It just fits into what I like to consider as a little support tank in there because it's not as powerful as Battletech. I don't even think it even has a particle cannon on it.
Well, it's got the big gun, right? But
yeah, I think it has a beam pod. It has like a beam pod, like the Zentradi had, but not like the particle cannon, like the Battletech had with the rifle.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Rob?
My first one is going to be just a general concept. I don't really have one particular example, but I love it when a mech is brought in via either a helicopter or a VTOL, but hanging below it by cables, and you see the mechs just hanging there, and then they drop them. I think there's a scene in Pat Labor that does that, and I'm pretty sure, well, I know in Battletech you can do that, but just the idea... What's that? Oh, Pacific Rim, yep. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just the idea of seeing the mechs hanging below these ships that don't look like they'd be strong enough to hold them up. Like, it's just such a cool visual. So that was my first one. It's just a general concept of the mech transport, VTOL mech transports. And, Pacific Rim is probably the most biggest one you could think of. I think that was near the end of the movie, right? When they drop them in the water?
Yeah.
The first movie?
When they have to fly them out.
Yeah.
When Gypsy Danger makes its big thing.
Yeah, that was cool. Yes, so that's that. I just like the visuals of mechs hanging on cables below flying vehicles. That's my first. My first is just a general concept. The rest are actual things. That was just the first one that came to mind.
Nice. The next one for me is actually still within Gundam, because they, it's a great series where you just have such a variety of mechs, and I gotta say the ball is kind of a favorite of mine, where it's this little like space pod that has arms, and then it very much is this utility. It's this tool that's used in space, and then it's like, well, hey, we're gonna follow patent rules. We're just gonna throw a gun on this thing.
Yeah, either a big cannon or a
yeah. And once again, in Eighth Team, you really kind of get to see
at the beginning, right?
That craft shine at the beginning.
Yeah,
where Plucky Hero, everyone is looking at him as like, is he insane?
He's taking a ball going.
He's gonna take a ball and go fight a Zaku. But no, it's also like played for comedic effect and other entries in the series where I think there's even a Zaku that like punts one across the room, and in the video games it'll be like, oh, here's the big swarm of balls, and it's just like, it's just kind of a fun thing. But I do enjoy like when it's more of an adapted vehicle, if you will, that's originally had a very like utilitarian purpose where it's like it did this one job, but it can also do this other job now.
Yeah. It's totally the vehicle from 2001, right? Near the end, the end where he gets. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie 2001, but he, Dave, I think it's Dave. Yes, where he's in it. That's exactly what it looks like, and I think that's where the idea for them came from. Like you say, they just threw a giant gun on top, but it's obviously made for repairs. It's got multiple arms and.
And it's kind of the closest thing to like a craft where you could actually see, because I mean we have submarines that match this design already. Like,
yeah, for sure.
We just need to make them space worthy next.
And even the like the arm on the space shuttle is very similar to the arms on the on the ball. It wouldn't be much different. Yeah, right now they just put a guy in a suit and throw him out there. They don't bother putting him in a pressurized vehicle.
Yeah,
but yeah. I guess in harsher environments, if you're in an environment where there's more radiation or something where a suit wouldn't be able to protect you, you'd need something like that. But balls are classic. I have actually 2 small ones, like the 144 scale, and I have one what's MG scale. So I have 3 balls to my name.
Oh, nice.
You do?
It's too easy. Too easy.
Well, for that, Pat gets to go next.
Alright, so I'm gonna bring it to I'm gonna bring it back to Battletech.
Don't steal mine.
I have a bunch, because a lot of my support stuff comes from games at this point. I'm gonna go with the LRM carrier, because there's nothing like
bastard.
there's nothing like just launching missiles from behind something from the safety of forests while your mechs follow up. The big LRM-20.
Yeah, those things are great. Especially even in the Harebrained Schemes game, the Battletech video game. Those things are a pain in the ass, because they'll just start nailing you from a distance. You're like, God, I can't I have to go all the way over there.
They crumble like a
oh, yeah.
Like a piece
Once
of
you get to them, they're done. Yeah. But they can do quite a bit of damage by the time you get to them.
But for fire support, there's nothing better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
The SRM launcher is a close second, but it does a little bit more damage. But the LRM, just for the distance, yeah.
Yeah. The SRMs, I mean, they're great, like you said, but they get too close. So, a good medium laser hit, take them out.
Yeah. It's
or an AC-10.
Or a giant foot.
Yeah. So my next is the standard long-range missile carrier.
Classic.
Very nice.
Let's see, what should I do next? I'm gonna go for from Maspida, or from the what are they? I never remember what they call the new generation. What do they call the last ones of Robotech? I'm gonna choose Jim or Lunk's Jeep. It's a Jeep. They call it Jeep, but it's not really a Jeep. It's more like a truck. And that thing is hilarious in that show, because he beats the hell out of that truck. One time it gets like crushed by a building and they just dig it out and it's still fine. Like the thing's like a tank. But he's open cockpit. They carry all their supplies in it, so they need it. But he runs into combat with it all the time, and he drives into people's legs or crashes into the Invid, or it's pretty crazy. But that thing was bulletproof, that Jeep, and I'm gonna give it a shout out right here. It's the classic Maspida Jeep.
Very nice.
Yes, and I think they should make that vehicle because it's pretty cool looking. What about you, Brian? What's next?
Still in the Gundam universe, but jumping over to the Iron-Blooded Orphans one, is the Tekadon Mobile Worker. So this is one of the first mechs we actually see in that series. They're the ones that are basically like little roving tanks, that they deck out with some big heavy artillery guns. And this is another one where it just kind of, it very much is like at the beginning of the show, it's kind of like the main weapon that they get to use, but later kind of takes more of that supporting role. And you just kind of get to see with the right pilot and combination of folks working it, that, you can really make this otherwise kind of worker, unit into a very versatile and destructive force when facing your enemies, and you'll get underestimated very often because it's like, oh, you're just coming out at us with those. But they really, within the show, the heroes definitely show the versatility of that craft. So they wheel around and cause a stir, and then they shoot you with the big guns.
As all tanks should.
Mm-hmm. And it's a little 2-person craft. Like, it's not a very big thing. Like, it's very reminiscent of like a modern day tank, where you have a relatively small crew. In this case, you had like one person that was the spotter and the other person that was the driver and gunner. So it's cool. I like those small like team units as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rob, I'm gonna give you another chance.
Oh, you're skipping Pat. I like it. That's good because this is a Battletech one. I was hoping Pat wouldn't steal this one, but it's going to be the Shrek PPC tank. Because what's better than having one gun on your tank is having 3 guns on your tank. 3 PPCs on a turret on these things. Once again,
which one is it?
It's the Shrek, the one of the 3 PPC barrels on the top.
Shrek.
And yeah, there's nothing worse than having 3 PPC hits from a stupid tank. And their tanks are pretty tough too. It's like, you know, they don't die that quickly, so they can give you some good damage, and you can't ignore it like in the game or in the video game, because it will just keep flicking you away. So you have to go waste time to go kill the stupid tank. And I appreciate how annoying these things are as an enemy force, so that's why it gets a place on this list. And it also it's like a tank version of the monster from Battletech or Robotech, I mean. So yeah, I think it's pretty cute. Okay, Pat, what do you got?
So using my the one cool thing I ever thought about from the Kerensky clan was the...
You refuse to they just grouped all as one giant clan for you?
Yeah. The Wetzlapochi assault tank. It's a fire support tank, came in 3060, but it's armed with an Ultra AC-5, 2 medium pulse lasers, 1 ER small lasers, and 2 Arrow 4 artillery.
It's good to have artillery.
Yeah. So it's a nice long distance fire support, and you got the Ultra AC for when you get up a little closer. It's one of the few things that I like that kicked the crap out of me, and then I was like, okay, I can respect that. I can respect that piece of equipment right there.
Mm-hmm. So the next one on my list is similar to the Jeep mentioned earlier by Rob. Is the command truck from Pat Labor.
Oh, you stole it from me.
I knew you were probably going to bring it up next.
It was my next one too.
Yeah. It's a it really is just kind of a little Jeep in the grand scheme of things, but the way they make use of it.
Oh, you're talking about the actual command vehicle. Okay, you're right. I still got mine on the list then.
Oh, okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, this one is really essentially just a little Jeep, but they throughout the show you see them loading ammo into it and like into the. I think they're in one of the movies. They even load the revolver that the laborers use into the back of the truck, and it's a fun little craft. Like its main purpose is to again kind of be a spotting vehicle, but also to kind of do more of the policing part of that job, where the megaphone's attached in there. And I'm just realizing, like, more often than not, it always seems like he's using the megaphone to talk to the pilots.
They don't use radios, yeah.
They don't use their own radios.
They just yell at them.
But to comedic effect. Like it's definitely played for fun and well.
And I love how the captain is always like leaning against his vehicle, and he's just watching the battle. He's just like smoking. He just does
completely like bored out of his mind.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I'm actually going to throw it back to Pat.
No. So continuing with Battletech, I might as well just finish off all 100 Battletech support vehicles I have. Is another long-range fire support. It's the Ballista. The Ballista is categorized as a sniper artillery tank, and that's all it's armed with. It's this long, giant artillery cannon that's super tonally accurate, and very good at just patang from far away.
I get the feeling you like
headshot.
Yeah, you like your your distance attacks.
Well, I like my distance attacks because I like the mechs to be able to walk up and then, it's a solid plan. You get the distraction. You lay down the covering fire so your mechs can get into position, and then you go to town.
It looks like the from G.I. Joe. It looks, what is that thing called? Long Tom, maybe something like that. It totally looks like a G.I. Joe vehicle. Yeah,
this thing, it looks ridiculous. It's basically 2 tracks and this long barrel.
Yep.
So.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What do you got next, Rob?
Well, since you almost spoiled it, but I'm going to say the transport vehicle for Patlabor, the actual thing that the Patlabor lays on to get transported. Because the thing with those mechs is that they have limited power supply. So they can't just walk to the fight. They got to get transported there. So these transports are usually in the middle of the battle because they got to like drive up to the enemy and flip them up and have the mech run off. And there was a few times that they use it to distract or charge in and knock somebody over. And it's a huge vehicle. I love it when they show them on the roads because you see other cars like it takes up pretty much 2 lanes and the cars are trying to get over its way and just plowing through things.
It's a wide load vehicle.
Yeah. And it's, you have to, it carries all the important stuff for the mech and it recharges the Patlabors when they have to. And, it's always funny because the one guy who's the driver is always, that's his job is just to drive that truck. So the team's funny because there's only one, like, there's two pilots and the rest are all just support workers. So it's, it's a pretty fun makeup on that show. So that was my next one there, the good old transport.
And it kind of hits home that kind of mundanity of of this mecha infused world, and it's just like, we gotta load it in the flatbed, and then we gotta haul it out there.
Yeah. And even at the very first thing that what's her name, Akuma, she has to do is actually Azumi. That's it. She has to actually put her Patlabor on the truck, and I guess that's like everybody fails the first time kind of thing because it's not easy to climb backwards onto a vehicle, and those things are pretty cool. Like you say, it's such a ubiquitous thing to have a vehicle to drive your mech around, but fun times were had. And somebody steals it at one point, and they have to go. She has to go jump on it and climb on top and get her mech back. Pretty fun times.
Well, that kind of like we could go on, and obviously, if you guys have one that you really want to talk about, well, I mean, this is just kind of a fun topic of the kind of sideline vehicles and craft and characters too. That a lot of these shows have them, though sometimes you might miss them just kind of being in the background. But it is kind of fun when they're elevated and brought to the fore and shown off in fun ways.
I do have some honorable mentions then, if we're just wrapping up, because I was saving my best for last here. But
okay.
On Gundam, is it Base Jabber, the sled that they ride on?
Oh yeah.
But it's actually piloted. It's not. They just hold on to the top of it and fly. Those things are cool. It's like a surfboard, but it's in space and it's huge because it's got to have a Gundam on top. And my other one is the cover of for Battletech, the technical readout 3026, the vehicle one of the original books I owned, and it's the Striker light tank. It's just a cool little tank with a missile launcher on top, but it looks like it could be a real vehicle, which a lot of them do in Battletech, I find. But I love that thing just because of the book. How about you, Pat? Got any honorable mentions?
Yeah, and I can't remember what it's called, though. What's the name of that one girl that took a liking to, oh, fuck, what was his name now? I'm blanking so hard now.
What show? Give us a show, at least.
Yeah.
The original Gundam.
Oh, you're talking about her scooter or whatever, or her car?
No, she was riding around with, Rumble Ra.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
yeah. And what was that big giant thing they were riding in? I couldn't find the name of that.
It begins with a G. A Gallop.
Yeah, I like that thing as a sport vehicle. And transportation thing.
It is kind of a neat one with like the little like basically like hiding trench, if you will, where like dudes with jetpacks can duck down and as this thing like drives them closer, shielding them, and then they just hop out. Yeah,
it's another hover vehicle too, right?
I think so.
I think it's actually a hovercraft. Hovercrafts. Only in the future.
Yes. Well, most of them. There still will always be tracks, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, if we're talking hovercraft, we have to talk about Rumble in the Bronx starring Jackie Chan.
Oh, no.
There's no mechs in that movie. Isn't there?
I mean, Jackie Chan is practically a machine.
That's true. He's like Ultraman.
He is Ultraman. So I can't like for me. Can't figure out the name of that damn tank or whatever it is.
It's a Gallop. It's the Gallop.
It's called a Gallop, I think.
Gallop.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. There you go. And I'm sure there's tons more. Yeah.
The Magellan attack tanks, I think, were the other ones that were near. They have the floaty top part.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the tall ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those designs were crazy in the original Gundam.
Yeah. Yeah, big shout out to the big aircraft that have to haul those things around.
And they're such odd shapes.
Right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense in my head.
Yeah. They're not aerodynamic. They're not, I don't know why they have those shapes, but there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I dig that. And then, I think that's it, because everything else is just kind of the same as before.
Yeah, there's always more tanks, there's always more things. We didn't really mention many aerospace or any of that stuff, but...
Well, I did have one, but, it was only one.
I did too. Was it the Corsair?
No, it was, I can't even remember.
Oh, I thought you'd like the Corsair, because it looks like a Viper from Battlestar.
No, this one I like because it had a PPC on it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Put a PPC on anything, it's better.
It was a heavy fighter from Aerotech.
Yeah.
Yeah, my honorable mention in that category would be the Cat's Eye in the Macross franchise. It's basically like a little fighter jet, a Valkyrie that's got the big radar dish on top.
Oh yeah.
And Macross Frontier, specifically that unit also controls a set of ghosts. So the automated, complete AI driven one, after the debacle that was Macross Plus's in-story disaster about AIs going rogue and taking over their fighter craft, they're like, yeah, we want that. But yeah.
Yeah, the Cat's Eye's cool because it's got the swept wings design, eh? That's neat. Mm-hmm. The wings are swept forward. Cool little plane.
The YF-19, so cool. But anyway, that I think that puts a wrap. But if you guys have any other support craft that you like to just kind of give a little shout out to, it's always nice to kind of see the little guys that are making the thing work.
Yeah, We really only hit on, like, the big shows. There's tons of shows. I was trying to think of some more of the odd shows that might have some stuff, but my mind wasn't working. I only remember the big stuff, so we only hit on some major things. So.
True.
I was really scratching my brain to try and think of things from like Code Geass or Full Metal Panic or like Front Mission.
Yeah,
or
my brain only went to games. It didn't even think about going to TV shows.
Animes, yeah. Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, feel free to share any ideas that you guys have. You know, there could be some really cool ones, and especially for those that are playing games where these craft are available. If you have fun strategies on how to make them work, you know, it's especially in a lot of combat oriented games, it's not always readily apparent like the value of a support unit. You know, not everyone is as well versed in like buff, debuff kind of things, or you know, all those kind of impacts that.
Oh yeah, you start getting the ECM, ECCM, and all that stuff. It starts to get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Or even Monster Apocalypse, Pat. Like that's the support vehicles of Monster Apocalypse are a major part of the game. So we never even thought about those guys.
Yeah. So if you have strategies that go with those support craft, you know, definitely share those too, because it's always fun to see and experiment and try things out with those. Nice. Well, cool. So I think with that, we're going to head to the
ExFil.
ExFil. It's been so long.
Let's ExFil out of here.
So here we are at the ExFil, and sorry about the botched intros and stuff like that. As you may have heard, it's been a while since I actually got to start and host the show, so getting back into the swing of things, just a tad on the rusty side. But thank you all for checking out the show, and please share and subscribe where you'd like to. And I'm sure, Rob, do you have like all of our Twitter?
Yep, it's all in the post. It's you can go to, well, the Twitter is MArmor Radio. You can go to Facebook. You can go to what's that other thing?
Discord.
Discord, yes. I couldn't remember.
Instagram?
I was gonna say Twitch. No, we don't have an Instagram. I don't.
We have a YouTube.
We do have YouTube. Pat's put stuff up. We haven't done that in a while. We got to get back on that kind of stuff. We still got lots of other podcasts to record too that we haven't done. We're slackers. That's what I think we've decided. We're slackers.
I'd say that we're busy.
We're podcast slackers.
We're busy, but we're still able to get some content done.
We want more. We got to get more content.
I hear you.
All right. So with that, I've been Brian.
I'm a Chopper.
And I'm still Rob.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter at @MArmorRadio. Find us on iTunes and visit our website, mobilearmorradio.podbean.com. Join us on the first of every month for more Mecha discussion.